In this live visual building series, we're going to be adding the visual builder to this legacy fashion theme and then creating a modal for newsletter sign up on the homepage that shows when the customer lands. We're going to start by following this tutorial, adding the visual builder to a legacy storefront. The first step is taking this snippet right here and putting it into the document top at the bottom of the file. I've located the document top and I'm going to paste this into the bottom and then save. The next step is to find the theme snippets container, and then we'll move up to the parent directory and create the containers folder. So we can search on snippets. You see there's theme snippets. Move up to the parent and then we're going to create the containers folder. Now we need to create our first container. We need to manually create this first container and add it in. Then we'll be able to engage the visual builder. So we'll create a new file and we'll call this home newsletter modal.cjson. We don't have to put anything into the file. The step of creating it will automatically compile the VM file. So we can see here, there's our entire file name. Yep. Okay. Now let's go off to our home page and add this new template. Since this is going to be a modal, we can actually put this down pretty much at the bottom. I'm going to put it right down here. So pound parse. And just like we did, you see above, there's snippets. We can just do containers / and then the name. And this will bring in the actual container. We'll have a visual builder container now on the page. So let's go ahead and save that out. Go over to our home page, refresh. We now see that we have the visual builder edit button. And let's go ahead and engage that. And we'll see we have our first container down here. There's a little clear issue with the legacy slider above, so I'm actually going to move that up one just to get rid of that. There we go. So this won't actually take up any space when it renders. So the next step is we need to start creating the content, and it's always good if you can reuse something that is already available. So I'm going to go into this second storefront, and it just has a default elements theme installed, but we have a newsletter sign up section down here. So I'm going to go ahead and download that section just so I don't have to recreate all of this. So I'm going to start with the site attribute for the mailing list sign up because we're going to put it into a modal. So I'm just going to go ahead and download that CJSON. Okay, now let's switch back over to our other storefront, and we'll begin building this out. So within the container that we added, we'll click add and we'll go ahead and do a modal. Alright, and then underneath the modal we'll go ahead and add in the contents of the mailing list sign up. So we'll go ahead and find that file and add it by clicking the choose file button right here. Okay, now that I've uploaded it, I can click the button and it will parse all that information, so we can see now the hierarchy has all that content that we just uploaded. We can go ahead and display our modal, and we can see that it's starting to come together. Of course, We now need to work on fonts and colors and everything. Um, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and adjust some settings on the modal. Um, Probably want to bring it in a little bit. Now it will respond down, so it's no big deal. Um, so let's actually, you know what, we'll leave it as wide like we had. The underlay, it's always a good idea to use that. So what I like to do is start with black, and then after I do that, I'll just drag the opacity down to where the background looks, looks decent. So maybe like a 0.5 opacity. That way they draws the user's eye to the modal itself. And you can see here, click or escape to close is set to yes. Now once we get all this built and we're ready to go live, we'll actually use this trigger, and we'll go ahead and trigger it to load. So, okay. All right, let's start working on some of the content here. Oh, that's our row. We're not going to change that. Let's get down to the headline and clean up. Go ahead and tell them why we would like them to sign up. Let's fix that text color. All right. Now we have some form fields here. And we'll just need to adjust the labels as well. Get rid of the usage of that theme color so we don't have a white on white scenario. You can see I'm removing the theme color just by clicking that. And then it goes to the default, which is okay. Okay. And that's fine. I'm going to leave that green color on the button. I'm just going to increase the padding here a little bit. There we go. Next thing, even though they can click or hit escape, I always like to add in a close button. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually free up some space. So let's see here. And we'll push that one over. So I'm just going to free up one. I'm going to add another column in here. So I've taken this one down to a width of 10, and I've pushed it over 1, so that gives me the little gap here. And now I'm going to add a column that's 1 wide over there. So we're going to add another child, which gives us the column, and then we'll just say it's 1. All right. It's being a little strange. It's the padding. 0 all that out. Oh, it actually would have been better not to push, because I'd have to push this one as well. So what I'm going to do is I got my column of 1. I'm just going to duplicate that one and bring it up here. So now I have a column with 1 on each side. Inside the column, let's go ahead and create a button. And the easiest thing, I usually clear out the text. There's already an X icon, so I like to use that. Let's see here, flat color, and then I'll just adjust my colors. So I'll make the X black, and then the background, I could either type in white, or I could also type in, if I could spell, transparent. Okay, now I could also mess with the sizing of the button and everything. But now let's wire up the action, and so this is going to be a show hide action, and then we're going to tell it to hide the modal. So when that's clicked, it will hide the modal. All right. Okay, the next step is to decide when to load. And we're on the modal element, and we have these trigger options. So there's just different styles of doing an interruption to the user. I'm going to choose a timeout, and I'll go ahead and put in 5 seconds, and then you can choose how often to interact with the user. So for example, page load, every time the home page loads, it would fire the dialog. I'm going to choose per visit, so that during their session they're only going to see it one time, but if they leave and come back a few days later, we'll prompt them again. So okay, we'll go ahead and save this out, and then we'll go ahead and exit. And here you can see after 5 seconds the sign up for our newsletter popped up, and the X button, a click or escape will close it. Okay, let's go ahead and go back into edit mode, and we'll do a little bit more cleanup. We actually have a couple of other modals in play when they are successful with their sign up. So here's the mailing list sign up attribute, and it's set to on success, it's going to show a modal, which is the sign up success modal, and then on error it would show the sign up error modal. And those were all brought in because we use that existing snippet. And so let's go ahead and take a look at these modals as well. Okay, so here's how that looks. All right, let's take one more peek at these settings. We're going to do some adjustments. Let's see. Once we're successful, I also want it to hide the current modal. So show successful, hide this one, show that one. That'll give good user feedback. And then here's our error. So modals will do all the work. We do have the background colors already set. Let's take a peek. Okay, colors look fine. Okay, that'll do it for this tutorial. And we will, by the way, we will go ahead and post this CJSON file on the docs.ultracart website along with this video. So if you want to implement this on your site, you can go out to the docs.ultracart.com site for our educational storefront series, and you'll be able to grab this entire file.